Hi, I'm RC Jim, and today I'm going to show you how to turn your NX6 radio into a 14-channel transmitter. Hey, yeah, that's what is available now. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that you've got old software for a start, old firmware in your radio. Because with that, it's, you got to do a little bit more stuff. But if you just follow the instructions for how to do it with modern firmware, well, if you got modern firmware, you probably already have the 14 channels. So we're going to go ahead and show you the way that you have to do it when you have the older firmware. And then, of course, once you have it updated, then it'll be real easy. And then we'll show you how you can keep it updated in a much easier way after you've got that basic update done. So let's get right into it. So the first step is on your computer. You need to go to SpektrumRC.com and find the login page. Probably when you search for that, it will come up with a link that goes directly to this page, and you need to log in. If you haven't done this before, if you don't have a My Spektrum account, then you need to go through and create one. And keep in mind, this is the old way of doing things, but the old way of doing things is what you have to do if you've got old firmware in there. And naturally, this would still work if you got more modern ones, but there'll be easier ways. So, when you get in there, you'll have a list of your products. If you've already registered it, you'll have your transmitter that's already listed in here. If you haven't registered it, then you click Register a New Product. It'll have you put in the serial number and when you acquired it and so forth, and then that will have it in place for you. Okay, once you've got your item in there, your transmitter in there, then you need to go over here to Download Updates. So as you go on there, it'll give you instructions for the latest updates and things like that. It'll tell you what to do along the way, and you go down here to download, and you click on download, and that will give you a file. That file will be on your computer, and so you'll go to your downloads on your computer, and you'll have this spmtx.sax. So that's what you need to get into your transmitter. So you can do that by plugging in an SD card into the bottom of your transmitter down here. Or, as in my situation, didn't get an SD card with the transmitter. So what I'll do is just simply plug in a USB cable. And so I plug the USB cable into the computer. Okay, so what I do, I get ready with a USB cable. I fire up my transmitter. Press in on the scroll wheel, go down here to System Setup, go into there, disable the RF, and then I go down here to USB settings, okay? Go into there. Having got into our USB settings, we can now connect this USB cable. So that's connected to our computer. And we hook this up to the transmitter. Should plug it in. Try to be gentle with it. Put it in straight and out straight. And then you can see I'm propping up the back of it. You don't want to be setting it down on that cable. Those things are quite delicate. So now that we've done that, we can select this Access Internal Storage down here. So we use the wheel to get down to that. Press in the button. And then now, on the computer, we see that we've got a drive connected, and this drive is USB drive E. Now, it might be a different letter than that on yours, depending on what you got going on. It can have different ones. But when you click this one here, you should see, the audio, autolog, BNF, and so forth. Bunch of airware files, and then some files for different planes and things like that. That tells you that's the right one. So keeping in mind that drive, whatever drive letter that is, it's got all that stuff in this case drive E, I will then just simply go up to my downloads. I have this file here that was downloaded with the firmware in it. Get to where I can see the E over on this side, and all I have to do is drag that file and drop it into E drive. It goes right in the root directory, so just drop it there. And it'll take a few minutes to copy across. Okay, so that's now all done, complete. So we then have a look at our transmitter again. So it's all complete, so we can exit that screen. Get right out of there. Now you want to make sure that you're fully charged. It doesn't hurt to have a cable, connected, but if I'm fully charged, that's okay. So I'll just disconnect the cable, making sure that just nothing strange is going on. And then I'll just simply turn the radio off. And you would see up there in the corner your old version of firmware that you've got. And now I just simply power it on again. Now, as you do this, you're going to have various bars going back and forth. There'll be some orange ones, there'll be some blue ones. I imagine what it's doing is it's deleting files, it's adding files, doing different things. As it goes off briefly, don't worry about that. It's not done until you come back to your basic main screen that's on here. So this can take quite a while, allow, even up to 5 minutes or something like that. But do not disconnect it, do not interrupt it, allow it to keep on going until it's all done. Okay, so that's what it looks like when it's all done. So you don't turn off anything or whatever until you come back to this screen. Okay, well, let's now have a look at what we've got in here. Let's go up to our channel assignments. Channel assign. Okay, so we got 10 channels on this first screen. That's cool. We go down to next, and 20 channels? Well, not really. As you go down here to 14, you can see we're able to highlight the items there, but I click it once more, and it pops away all the way down to the bottom. So NX6 or the NX7e, it's only going to give you 14 channels. If you have an NX8 or an NX10, then you'll have the full 20. So we've got that, but let's now have a look at the frame rate. Now this is a little bit different as to how this works. RF mode automatic. You don't want DSM2, that's horrible. So keep it on automatic. But here in servo mode, you got several options here. Now let's go back first off to hybrid. Hybrid, that's not 11 channels at 22 milliseconds. That's channels at either 11 milliseconds or 22. So if you've got digital servos, you can have digital servos on your basic flight controls, aileron, elevator, rudder, and flaps. Those can all have digital servos running at 11 milliseconds, and then the other ones can be running at 22 milliseconds, whether they're digital or whether they're analog. So that gives you 10 channels with high resolution, and then a couple more channels that would have, well, not available. It just gives you 10 channels, sorry. So you got 10 channels that way. That's the hybrid. Then you've got 12 channels at 22 milliseconds plus 8 channels with variable frame rate. So with this one, you've got 12 channels at 22 milliseconds. Oops, let me just select that, 12 at 22, press in there. Okay, so you got the 12 channels at 22, then you got 13 and 14 with variable, and if you had an NX8 or 10, then you'd have the additional ones at variable. But 12 channels 22, 2 channels that are variable, even though it says 8 up there, but 2 for this particular one. Okay, going back up to the choices here, then the last choice is 14 channels at 22 milliseconds. So if either you have all analog servos, or if you just don't care and you just want all 14 channels to have decent resolution to do flight control type things with, then you can have all 14 that particular way. So some great choices there, and it makes a big difference along the way. And I'm sure that for most of us, you know, either 10 or 14 channels is going to be totally fine. So that's all there is to it. It used to be for existing models you needed to enable some other things, but with this latest one it doesn't seem to be that that's required. Just any model that's in there is automatically going to have all of those. So you can do your channel assignments, you can assign your switches to them and all of that, and it's all great. Now, what if after getting a more recent version of the firmware, what happens if you want to do it now? Do you have to go through all the thing with a computer? No, not necessarily. You still could if you wanted to. But what you would do is you go down here to System Setup and disable the RF, and then we're going to go down here to Wi-Fi. And I would have thought that this would have worked with my old one because I was already hooked up with Wi-Fi, but I couldn't get this to work updating my old firmware. But with the new one, you certainly will be able to. So with Wi-Fi, you're going to connect to the network. If you haven't done this before, it'll then ask you to identify which Wi-Fi network. You'll select that, put in your password and so forth. But after you've done that once, it'll remember it, so continue. If you haven't used it before, you'll have to do the login thing to log into your Spektrum account. So you need to have a Spektrum account to use that. And that's as easy as going to that Spektrum website that we pointed out earlier, and you've already logged in there, so you've got it. But anyway, then you'll check for updates, and it'll do a little bit of thumb twiddling. And as it gets that done, it'll then show you what you have installed and whether there's anything more recent. Now, obviously, we've just installed the latest one, which is this one here. If I had an older one and I wanted to pick that one, I just hit the enter there, and you scan this with your phone, a QR code, go through an authorization process, and then it will give you that file directly to your radio. And basically, it just bypasses that matter of going on your computer to Spektrum, finding your radio, looking for the updates there, downloading the file, adding it into your radio, and then starting it up. So it just takes a few steps out of it. But that's all you have to do for further updates along the way. Okay. So that's all there is to it, and now you've got a 14-channel radio. Well, I trust that this has been helpful to you. If it has, make sure that you subscribe, because there'll be more helpful things along the way. And then have a look at some of our other videos on the site. You'll find a lot of helpful things, both having to do with Spektrum radios as well as Radio Master and other ones. A lot of things with regard to the models, flying, you name it, we've got it. We're not an expert, but we do our best to learn how to do things and then try to communicate it in a way that's simple and straightforward for you. That's a theme of what we're all about. So you have a great day and enjoy your flying.